Before we begin, you'll get a square of paper and you're going to want to tape it and then write your name. So what we're going to do is first you're going to take some masking tape near the bottom and line it up with the very bottom. This is 1-inch masking tape and a 9x9 square of paper, by the way. So I've got that right there, and that is taped to the table. Then I'm going to go at the top, not at the very top this time. I'm going to leave a little space about the thickness of the tape. So I have about tape thickness about 1 inch and 1 inch, and I'll tape that down. And then right in the middle of those two. So again, you can eyeball this. This does not have to be exact, but this piece of tape is roughly in the middle of these two pieces of tape. And then lastly, I'm going to make a vertical from the top tape to the bottom tape, not all the way to the top of the paper, but top tape to bottom tape. We are dividing up our paper into 4 rectangles and 1 long strip at the top. The long strip at the top will be for a value scale, and the 4 over here will be for little monochromatic landscapes where we will practice. Now, if you have to wrap this up and you can't leave it out on the table where you are, right now we'll work like this, we'll leave it taped. But if you cannot do that, then you can simply just carefully pick this up and tuck the pieces of tape behind and stick them behind. But also please make sure that you, if you are in the classroom, that you write your name on that tape for now, and then when we take the tape off at the end, we will write our name directly on the paper. We're going to use one color to make a quick, short watercolor value scale. We're not going to do a ton of values, we're just going to get started. So depending on the type of watercolor you are using, whether they are a pan set like this, or liquid watercolor that has been sitting out and is dry in a palette like this, you are still going to be doing the same procedures and mixing either in empty spaces or up in a palette somewhere. It's in order to get good values for what you're doing. So first we need to activate the paint. We need to wet our brush. I'm going to wet a color that is pretty dark, just so that you can really see the contrast. So I'm just adding a lot of water right now into this to get it started and activated, because this is dry, it's been sitting out. And now I'm going to start taking some paint over here. And you'll notice because this is dry, it's not moving a ton, but I'm going to bring a lot of water in here. And in this top portion here, I'm going to see how I'm doing, and I have a little scrap area here, or I can use my paper towel to test the color and see how it's going. That looks pretty good for a nice light color. So I'm going to paint a little rectangle, just wet on dry, and see how that looks. Now I want to go a little darker, so I'm going to take a little bit more paint and see if I can get this one a little darker. That looks pretty good. And if it's too dark, what can I do? If I jumped too soon, I can rinse some of that off my brush and just move it along with the water. So you just sort of clean the paint off and just use water to spread the paint. And soften it up. So that looks like a nice second value quickly there. Let's try a little more water here. Let's try a third value. A little drip there I want to take care of. This looks a little bit similar, so I'm going to bring a little bit more pigment in here. So I just grabbed a tiny bit more paint. And I can go up to the tape because I have the tape pressed onto my paper. If you're finding pooling though near the tape or at one side of your little quick rectangle, just dry your brush, make it thirsty, and then it'll scoop some of that out of there. So that's good. Okay, next level. Again, I'm just not letting these touch. I'm just making little rectangular shapes. If you need more pigment, you can add more. It's much easier to add more pigment than to take it away. So if it's too light, it's easier to get darker. Okay, and my last one here for right now, just to give you an overview, you can go as far as you can go with this. You can keep going across, but this should be a quick demo video to give you an idea. So this one is darker. So what you're seeing again here, there we go, clean that off. A little thirsty over here, suck that up. What you're seeing in what you should see is a change in value from gradually getting from very light, gradually stepping a little bit darker and darker as you go. So again, you can keep on going, see how dark you can get it without getting shiny, because watercolor should be transparent. It's not meant to be an opaque, meaning it's not meant to be solid. It's meant to be a little bit see-through. So I think we can't get much darker probably than what I have here, but it's good sometimes to test and see what happens if you get too thick, so you see the difference, so you see what not to do. And then challenge yourself. You should have left a little space probably over here. See if you can get even lighter. What'll happen? Let's see, maybe if I just wet a spot here, very dirty yellow, orange water in this case. Oop, got a brush, there we go, get that out of there. I could even get lighter, see that? So you can barely see that, but I took a little paint, I kind of cleaned my brush off, blotted it, and I even got lighter. So challenge yourself, see how far you can stretch it and create a value scale to get started.